All right, so let's take a look at a little bit of a timeline, little more of a deep dive into the timeline. So this was Elon in those halcyon days of 2024 at their big Madison Square Garden event, talking about how much money they were going to cut from the federal budget.
Set up DOGE.
Yes.
How much do you think we can rip out of this wasted $6.5 trillion Harris-Biden budget?
With or without the Jews.
Well, I think we can do at least $2 trillion.
Yeah!
Yes.
$2 trillion.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're being taxed. You're being taxed. All government spending is taxation. So whether it's direct taxation or...
All right, blah, blah, blah. So, hey, man, you know, the big guy repeated that.
A little early report, they're finding things that you wouldn't even believe. So we're looking to save maybe $2 trillion.
$2 trillion.
And it'll have no impact. Actually, it'll make life better, but it'll have no impact on people. It's not like we will never cut Social Security, things like that. It's just waste, fraud, and abuse.
We'll just damage it to the point that you can't get it, but we won't actually officially cut it.
Or we won't. Maybe we won't do much of this. Maybe we'll just throw people in prison at random and call it a day. You guys like that, right?
Maybe if we cut your Social Security and you call up and complain, we're going to call you a fraudster and throw you in CCAT.
Yeah, you guys like it
coming
when we
next.
throw people in jail with no due process, right? You guys love that. This is America.
Yeah.
We love that.
Come on, you know you hate your grandma. You know she's a burden. You know she's a burden. You know she's draining your resources. You know you feel that terrible conflict between the guilt and obligation and the relief you'll feel if she dies. Well, this is a middle ground. We could send her to CCAT.
Yeah, you know, I told Bukele, I said we can't pay you $20,000 for grandma. We'll give you 12. And he said okay. He took it. He's a negotiator. He's a good negotiator. You know, he's a good partner.
And also remember, down there they don't pay what we pay for pharmaceuticals up here. So it's much easier for them to take care of your grandma and CCAT.
Yeah.
All right. So you might remember in February, chainsaw.
The chainsaw for bureaucracy. Chainsaw.
Chainsaw.
Now it wasn't very long after this because that was I think February 20th that event took place. Just a couple weeks later, like 2.5 weeks later, beginning of March, he's not talking about $2 trillion anymore.
Confident at this point, knock on wood, you know, knock on my wooden head. There's got a lot of wood up there. That we can actually
no wood anywhere else. That's
$20
for sure.
in savings. That would be roughly 15% of the $7 trillion budget, and obviously that can only be done with the support of everyone in this room. And I'd like to thank everyone for your support. Thank you very much. This can only be done with your support.
Okay, all right. So this week he negotiated down. He made us a new offer this week.
To your fantastic leadership, this amazing cabinet, and the very talented DOGE team, I'm excited to announce that we anticipate savings in FY26 from reduction of waste and fraud by $150 billion. And I mean, and some of it is just absurd, like people getting unemployment insurance who haven't been born yet. I mean, I think anyone can appreciate
no, that's totally happening.
I mean, come on.
That's totally happening.
That's just crazy.
It's everywhere. Everywhere. It's an
So,
epidemic.
you know, some of these things, people ask me like, well, how are you going to find waste and fraud in the government? I'm like, well, actually, just go in any direction. That's how.
And just make it up.
It's very common.
You don't have to get up
in any direction.
As
Just
the military
make
would
it
say,
up.
target
Just
rich
lie.
environment.
When you've built your entire brand around having broken, emotionally fragile men prop you up, you could say any shit you want.
Right, it doesn't matter.
You've got an army.
So I think we're doing a lot of good in excellent collaboration with the cabinet to achieve these savings, and it'll actually result in better services for the American people, and that we're going to be spending their tax dollars in a way that is sensible and fair and good.
And your people are fantastic. In fact, hopefully they'll stay around for the long haul. We'd like to keep as many as we can. They're great. Sure. smart, sharp, right? Finding things that nobody would have thought of. Very computer savvy.
Yeah. We're working with Howard to get the Trump Gold Card operational, hopefully in the next week or so.
Yeah. That'll be very exciting.
Yeah, they're selling citizenship like a VIP card to the Sands.
Why are there 6 teapots on the table? There's like a teapot for every 3 people on one side, and it looks like they got on the other side too. That's what those are, right? Those are teapots?
Yeah. Well, I mean, tea or coffee.
Maybe they're all sick.
Tea or coffee, maybe.
It's a pathway to citizenship into the United States.
I think it's a big deal.
Yep, it's a big deal.
Yep, it's a big deal.
A lot of tea.
So he's working with Howard Lutnick as they're deporting people to CCOT without due process. They're working on the Trump Gold Card, on the literal casino card version of the United States. So yeah, man, from 2 trillion down to 150 billion. Wow. Now, if you look at the savings on this, actually, if people like Elon just paid their taxes, you would actually save more than what DOGE is claiming they're going to save. And even the 150 billion is dicey, as we will see. But a study was done in 2021. Wealthy Americans like Elon, like Trump, like Lutnick, they dodge 175 billion in taxes every year. So, if you just put together a task force like DOGE, only tasked with going after billionaire tax cheats, you wouldn't have to throw all these federal workers out of work. You wouldn't have to make your housebound grandma travel to the Social Security office to prove that she's a citizen. You could hire enough people to handle that on the phone.
Right.
Wouldn't have to do that. The richest 1% at the very top of the income cheat the U.S. government of roughly 175 billion per year in revenue, according to the findings by a team of economists from academia and the IRS. DOGE projected savings of 150 billion is less than what should be paid by the tax cheats. DOGE's website has been plagued with errors and miscalculations, making it hard to know if the team's top line figure of 150 billion can be trusted. We don't even know if it's going to be that much. The team has deleted several contracts from its wall of receipts after reports undermined some of their claims. In one case, DOGE had to revise its largest contract down from 8 billion to 8 million after the contract's vendor explained that the 8 billion listed on its procurement record was likely a clerical error. Now, some of what's really amazing about the level of incompetence that this team is displaying is they have such absolute disdain for federal workers, supposedly on the premise that they're incompetent, that they're lazy, that they're not doing a good job. I mean, what would they say about a federal worker who miscalculated by 1,000 times?
Right. Yeah.
Made a 1,000% accounting error. In addition, DOGE staff quietly removed more than 1,000 contract cancellations from its records last month, wiping out about 4 billion in previously reported savings. I mean, it sounds like these DOGE guys should get their pink slips, no? They should be getting their walking papers. What the hell?
Yeah.
These guys we have incompetent workers running around the federal government getting paid to do a terrible job. Wow. Now, this outlet, which I've never heard of before, they actually broke this story. Nearly $1 billion in DOGE savings disappeared overnight. In a late night update to its webpage, DOGE removed hundreds of previously claimed cuts and altered scores of others to boost the item's claimed savings values. Nothing to see here. Nodis has identified nearly 650 grants and a few dozen contracts and leases that were scrubbed from the DOGE website over the past several weeks, almost all of them during a 2-hour window between midnight and 2 a.m. on Tuesday. That list is not exhaustive. The recipients of many grants are listed as redacted or have no appended description, making it difficult to account for every listing that was added or removed. DOGE has also made a habit of listing cancellations that long predate its establishment at the beginning of the Trump administration in January, helping to further overstate the scope of its cuts. So they keep claiming buildings that are getting shut down that were ordered shut down under Biden. They'll add billions of dollars, take credit for that. Grants that were canceled under Biden, they'll take credit for it. But wait until you see the best one. In the hours leading up to the April 10th cabinet meeting, where Musk said DOGE would reduce expenditures by 150 billion, the DOGE website's total claimed savings jumped from an estimated 140 billion to 150 billion. The number of contracts, grants, and leases DOGE said it had terminated, however, remained exactly the same, making it impossible to determine where the new $10 billion came from. So I don't think it would be untoward to speculate that they padded the numbers in anticipation of this cabinet meeting. Right? They just threw in $10 billion with no explanation. This is the best to give you an idea of how they're finding these savings or claiming them. DOGE claims 545,957 saved from a terminated lease in Atlanta, Georgia, labeled allowance to former presidents. Wait for it. Jimmy Carter's presidential stipend, which funded the lease, ended upon his death in 2024. DOGE still touts the savings.
Job well done.
That's a job well done.
Did they rub out Jimmy Carter so that they can claim the savings?
There's a theory. Accusation is a confession.
Exactly.
Right? So here's a little graphic representation of what we're seeing here. So originally it was supposed to be 2 trillion. Then by January 30th, it was down to 1 trillion. April 10th, 150 billion. Of that, 63 billion has itemized receipts, and even that has major gaps. 92 billion of what they're claiming does not have details. So in all likelihood, it's not even 150 billion. So, of course, this has triggered quite a lot of copium in MAGA land. DOGE has saved the U.S. over 150 billion, which is about $1,000 per taxpayer. Legacy media doesn't want you to know this. Oh, they've been reporting on this quite a lot. I assure you. Legacy media is all over this story, but with a different spin, probably. Gunther Eagleman, a guy who looked at his name and said, yeah, Nazi schmatzi. 150 billion saved. Thank you, Dose. Thank you. I mean, it really is. To forget the evidence of your eyes and ears was the most fundamental command of the party.
Right.
What 2 trillion? What 1 trillion? Chainsaw! Fucking morons. But now, to be fair, you have some legit MAGA people who are pissed. You can tell from some of what he lists here. He's pretty hardcore MAGA guy. Frost Caldwell. So let me get this straight. 1, DOGE has dropped a new target of only 150 billion instead of 2 trillion in total savings. RFK totally misunderstands what autism is, and people are losing confidence he can actually get anything done.
Oh, he's not going to cure autism? Oh, that's
not.
I didn't see that.
I mean, according to Frost.
I mean, I was really hopeful that he was on that.
I thought he was gonna. I thought he was gonna do it. I thought he was gonna make McDonald's hamburgers no longer last 200 years.
Right.
And that would be a long way towards it. 3, we folded on tariffs. 4, no JFK files. 5, no Epstein files. 6, no arrests being made to the corrupt swamp. And here's where you can see he's real MAGA. 7, we are working hard on the border, but deportations are nowhere near where they should be. 8, increase the debt ceiling by 2 trillion. 9, rhino Republicans running rampant, and it's spreading to state level government. Yeah, that's the problem with this administration. They're not reactionary enough.
Yeah, no.
No,
CCOT still has a few square feet of vacant space in it. Yeah.
What do you mean they get metal tablets to lay on?
Right. Yeah.
This administration is losing me, and I'm beginning to regret my vote. This first 100 days has not been what was promised. And a more sane commentator here, Spencer Hakamian. Musk, Doge anticipates savings of 150 billion. LOL, the number keeps coming down. 2 trillion down to 1 trillion, down to 200 billion, and now down to 150 billion. These changes are coming so fast, I didn't even catch the 200 billion. All while spending goes up 700 billion this year, and we do a $5 trillion tax cut. Doge failed. Great cause. Terrible execution. So this guy's not against what they were trying to do. He's pointing out this incompetence. As we'll see when we do our Tesla story after this, they should have seen the incompetence coming. But here, this was an interesting reply. Maybe Trump should have hired people who know anything about government and anything about running a sustainable operation, for that matter, versus slash and burn like he did with Twitter. They should have spent the first 3 months looking at every agency before making any cuts, then recommending a course of action to Congress. But it was never really about government efficiency. It was about two things. One, Elon setting up for more contracts by getting pesky regulators out of the way. Two, terrorizing the populace. For those two goals, mission accomplished. Absolutely.
Yes.
And I keep saying I'm going to get to this story. Not tonight, maybe Tuesday. It keeps getting bumped. But yeah, Elon Musk Doge is going after the agencies that regulate his companies. He doesn't give a shit about saving any money. He doesn't care about the American taxpayer. He doesn't care about his own kids. He doesn't care about his own children. You think he cares about your children? This guy went in there under the premise that he's going to fix all this corruption, which he knows does not exist on anything like the scale that he's describing. He just threw out a bunch of shit, made a lot of stuff up. What, you think Elon, look, credit where credit is due. You think this guy runs multiple companies and he didn't understand that they were using an old operating system in Social Security, and that's why the 250-year-old people were listed there? You really think he didn't understand that? He didn't know that when he went out and told people this? The whole point of this was to gut the agencies that are regulating his businesses. He has gone after the FDA, which was investigating Neuralink. He's gone after the FAA, which has some jurisdiction over SpaceX. He's gone after NASA. He's gone after the SEC, which is looking at him for stock manipulation. He's gone after, I think there were 17 or 18 agencies investigating him, perhaps all of which, definitely most of which, he has gone in with Trump and gotten rid of most of the people who were investigating him and gotten these investigations dropped. That was the scheme. And that's my speculation, but that was the plan all along. Go in there under the premise that you're going to clean up waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government and whack everybody who can get in your way, including the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which again this week they tried to fire everybody. And again, I think there's a court stay on it, and they've been going back and forth. Why? Because Elon wants to turn X into a payment system. He made a deal with Visa to start to use it for payments. He wants it to be like WeChat is in China, an everything app. And the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, would regulate that. That's why Andreessen went on Rogan's and threw out a bunch of bullshit unchallenged about what that agency does. That's why all these billionaires want to get rid of it, because they all want to get into fintech and they don't want any kind of oversight on what they do. This was all like a master plan. This is like Pinky in the Brain. He just went in, infiltrated the government, hoovered up everybody's information. You think he doesn't have all the taxpayers' information now? You think he doesn't have your information? It's a pretty good thing to have if you're going to try to set up an everything app, right? Now he's got everybody's information, everybody's payment history, everybody's income. That was the end game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was obviously a huge part of what motivated him all along. I do think he had some ideological goals of taking a chainsaw to the government. I think what happened along the way was that Wisconsin blowout. You saw Elon all day, every day, until that Wisconsin Supreme Court race. And after that Wisconsin Supreme Court race, you really haven't seen him much at all.
Yep.
You know, he was all over the cameras. He was in the Oval Office. He's standing up at the cabinet meetings. I mean, he was extremely visible until that blowout where the candidate that he backed to the tune of $25 million got blown out by double digits. I'm certain they had a conversation past that point saying, all right, we're going to have to keep you off camera for a while, kind of out of sight, out of mind. You really haven't heard much about DOGE at all since then. Not at all. Not at all. His brand is very bad. His brand was never really good. He has a cadre of really, really bizarre people. Yes, very bizarre people who just hang on his every word. And beyond that, he's very unpopular. I mean, his favorability numbers were never north of 40. I mean, so, you know, he was never really a popular figure. And now that the Democrats are massively outperforming the 2024 numbers, and the race that he really went all in on just went sideways in a huge way for the conservative candidate, that was a message sent and a message received that, you know, he is going to have to take a back seat from now on. I mean, there was that reporting, which, you know, we ran with it because it made sense to us, which is that they want him out, right? And it was unconfirmed, but we read that and we're like, you know what?
I think they're confirming
this makes sense.
Now. No, well, I think the White House now is confirming at the end of his 130 days he's leaving.
That he's out. Okay, so yeah, but that was, at the time we went with that. It wasn't confirmed, but we had a pretty good sense that was accurate because it just made perfect sense that, especially in light of Wisconsin, which was a result that you could really see coming weeks in advance. I mean, the polls were terrible for the conservative. Obviously, it was obvious the liberal was going to win, and they were sort of planning his withdrawal from the spotlight and then his exit, and that seems to be in the works now, I think.
Yeah, he's going to be gone soon, and it's such chaos there. It's hard to say what comes after. Like, basically, he just went in there. He didn't take a chainsaw to the government. He took a sledgehammer to the government.
Right.
Destroyed all of these organizations. Is Trump going to be the guy to hire these people back? Do they even want to come back to work in such a hostile environment? It seems like the damage is done.
Please clap.